exempt from fasting, he is not going to be held accountable for it. The fourth pillar of Islam is charity, is zakat. But this is the compulsory charity. There are various types of charities in Islam. There is something called a sadaqah. Sadaqah is charity you can give anytime. It's not like there is a limit for it or there is a set amount. No, you can give it anytime you want it. And this is not compulsory, but this is nafl. Nafl means that this is, if you do it, you will get reward. If you don't do it, you will not be held accountable for it. So the sadaqah is there. A part of that, the compulsory, the fourth pillar of Islam is the zakat, the compulsory charity. This compulsory charity is any person who has a certain amount for a whole year with him in his account or in the form of jewelry. That amount nowadays is approximately 1,200 euros. Approximately, because it changes when it changes depending on the value of the gold. So if a person has 1,200 euro, let's say, and he has it for a whole year with him, he saved that amount, and he has given his rent, he has given his other basic necessities, whatever he needs to pay for it, and he has that 1,200 euro for a whole year with him, or anything more than 1,200 euro, then whatever the amount he has, whether it is 1,200 or 2,000 or 2 million, he has to pay 2.5% charity zakat on it. So he has to calculate it himself, and then he has to pay it to the poor people. This is also one of the very important pillars of Islam. The fifth pillar of Islam is the Hajj. The Hajj is the pilgrimage. When you, as a Muslim, you are required to visit the house of God once in your life. People are exempted, those who can't afford it, obviously. People are exempted, those who can't afford it physically, they're not physically, because the Hajj, the pilgrimage, requires a lot of strength, a lot of energy, a lot of sacrifice. People who can't do it, obviously, they're exempted from it. But otherwise, every Muslim has to perform the Hajj, which is in Mecca. As you can see the picture there of the Kaaba, you have to go around the house 7 times. There are other things you have to do. For example, there are 2 mountains there, and the distance between these mountains is 700 meters. You have to 7 times walk between these 2 mountains. So which is about, the calculation, it's about more than 4 kilometers. You have to run or you have to walk that part. This is part of the pilgrimage. This is called the Sa'i. The reason why we do that, why do we go around the Kaaba 7 times? There are many reasons. One of the most important reasons is we believe as Muslims that when God created Adam, the first human being, at that time, angels already were created. Angels already were there. And when God created Adam, the first human being, he announced, I'm going to create, I'm creating my representative on earth. And the angels questioned God, and they said, why are you making him a representative who will shed blood, who will create chaos in the world? Why are you making him your representative while we always praise you and we always worship you? So why didn't you make us your representative? This question of the angels, we believe as Muslims, and even angels are sinless, this was not a sin. They did this without the intention of sinning. But when you as a servant, true servant, you question your Lord, you do not remain a true servant anymore. Because a true servant is the one who always submits to his Lord, no matter what his Lord does to him. Whether he gives him a blessing or whether he takes a blessing from him. He's always thankful to God. He's always thankful to God. But the angels, they made this unintentional mistake. When they made this mistake, they asked forgiveness to God, Allah. And Allah said to them, I want you to build a house on the 7th sky. They built a house on the 7th sky, and God said to them, you have to go around this anti-clockwise 7 times. And every angel who will do so, this unintentional sin which he did will be forgiven. When God created Adam, Adam was sent to earth. And angel Gabriel told him to build the house of God exactly under the house of God in the skies there. And this is where the Kaaba is today. And he built the house, and God said to angel Gabriel, Allah said to him, as you angels do go around the house, which is known as Baitul Izzat, and your sin is forgiven, even the children of Adam will do sins. They will commit sins. And if they want their sins to be forgiven, they have to come to this house and they have to go around 7 times. And everyone who does that, his sins will be forgiven. So this is why we as a Muslim, when we are going for the Hajj, we are required to do that, going around the Kaaba. Then there are stoning on a specific stone which resembles or which reflects the Saturn. There are other things, but this is just very quickly the second aspect of Islam. Then there is a very important aspect of Islam, which today is ignored. And you will see a lot of Muslims will not talk about it, because they don't realize this. What is this third important aspect of Islam? We have discussed the faith, the first aspect, what do we Muslims believe? The second aspect, what do we practice? What do we, act, all the 5 pillars of Islam? The third is known as ihsan. Ihsan is spiritual excellence. This is the third aspect of Islam. And this is basically that you live, you live. But when you live, and when you are walking, when you are holding something, when you are using your tongue, when you're using your eyes, you always are conscious that God is watching you. God is there. That God is watching you, whatever you do. So you could maybe hide yourself from others, but you cannot hide yourself from God. And everything which is created in this world is a creation of God, and you can't have a prejudice against it. This is called spiritual excellence. So even as a Muslim, this is why, unfortunately, you see nowadays people associate extremism in Islam, terrorism in Islam. Some so-called Muslims are for violence. They fail to recognize the third aspect of Islam, which is spiritual excellence, which is that wherever you are, whatever you do, you know that God is watching you. And even if you're meeting a Christian, even if you're meeting a Jew, you know that it's his choice, and he is also still a human being, and you're a human being. You are not the one who can judge people, it's God who will do the judging. And then, let this duty be God's duty, not your duty. So this is the third aspect of Islam. So this is just very quickly about the Islam in general. Now coming back to prayer. Prayer, as I said, is compulsory 5 times a day. There are certain times, and there are specific times for the prayer set. It's not like, you have time now, and you want to perform the 5 prayers, daily prayers, just right now, because you'll be busy after. You were busy before, or you are going to be busy in the night. You're going out or anything, and you can't just be bothered praying, so you just pray right now. No, you can't do that. There are certain specific times, conditions. For example, there are 5 prayers. One of the prayers is called Fajr. The Fajr prayer is the morning prayer. The Fajr prayer is prayed when the sun is rising, just before it is risen. This is the Fajr prayer. You can't pray that prayer in the night or in the afternoon, no. It's only then it's compulsory, and then you pray. Then we have the Zohar prayer, the prayer of the afternoon, which is approximately 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, depending where you live again. Then there is a prayer mid-afternoon. This is the prayer called as Asr. Then there is a prayer Maghrib, the Maghrib prayer, which is when the sun sets down. Then there is another prayer, the 5th prayer, which is Isha. Isha is the last prayer just before you sleep, or you can say the prayer after the dinner. There are various units in prayer. Every time when you pray, Islam has not, in Islam there are various types of prayers. You could sit down and you could mention the name of Allah, this could be prayer. You could talk about Allah, this is also prayer. You could, in fact, in Islam, the Prophet ﷺ, Muhammad peace be upon him, said, if you work outside your house, you work and you are earning money, but your intention is that you want to feed your children with that money, then even working will be prayer, will be worshipping your Lord. So you might be dealing with Muslims, non-Muslims, you might be working in a university, in a college, you might be working as a taxi driver, but if you have that intention, you will be praying, you will be worshipping Allah. There are different types of prayers, but the specific prayer we are talking about is the Salah. The Salah, 5 times a day, every time you pray, there are different units into it, and there are different physical, part of the